Good afternoon, everyone. By seeing that this room is full, it speaks a lot that there is enough interest in Dubai and UAE. So, with the raise of hands, let me see how many of you has been to Dubai or UAE. Almost 60%. And how many of you know somebody in your family or in your neighborhood who is in Dubai or UAE? Almost 100%, right? So that is good enough reason for anybody to think of UAE as a market. Good. There is a very good friend of mine, where we operate out of in Dubai. It's called Generation 71. It's a business center. It's owned by a family called Al Falasi family. So Ghanim, who is the vice president of Dubai Silicon Oasis, he says the best place to live in Kerala is Dubai. You know, so that's how Dubai is for all of us, and I'm fortunate that it's been over a decade that I lived there in Dubai. I am from Kerala, but for the interest of the audience, and I never lived in Kerala. 78, my dad moved to Bhopal, so I've raised in Madhya Pradesh. But yeah, my hometown here is in Patandetta. It's great to be here. And so, what all are would be the reason? What is the expectation from this session? All of you know Dubai. Many of you have been there. What is the expectation? What's your expectation from this session?
So we are, trying to expand our business to the Middle East. We have been potentially speaking with some clients, did some channel partnership agreements also. So our company's name is Logi.ai, and we are in the space of digital health. Yeah, digital health. So we are trying to work with hospitals and clinics.
So you're looking at expanding there. Anybody else?
Hi sir, I'm Vipin. I'm in tech industry, and currently we are based on Kochi, and we are trying to scale it to UAE. And we started operation, but I just need to register my company and move on.
Good. So he wants to register. Yeah. Anybody else who would like to volunteer? Yeah.
Hi, this is Mir Ali. I manage one of the programs in the incubator at Hyderabad. So we are looking for a path in the Middle East so that we can expand over there. Yeah. Healthcare. Health.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just looking to get my first dirham paying customer.
And what
Like
are
a
you
user.
into?
So we have a startup. We have a communications platform. We are
Okay.
for multilingual based businesses that
It's a
have
SaaS
lot of,
platform.
we have our
Subscription
own
based?
product actually. We have our own product like messaging platform, an app, a web interface, the whole thing. Uh, Something that we think is something the world can use, and Middle East, why not? So yeah.
Okay. Anybody else from this side? Yeah.
Hey, hello. Actually, first of all, I am very happy to hear that you are from Pathanamthitta because I am from also Pathanamthitta. And actually,
We will figure out that we are from the same neighborhood sometime. Yeah.
sure, sure. Actually, I am a business consultant as well. So I am trying to plan that how we can emerge in Dubai, like business and their compliances we have to maintain in Dubai, like the VAT system and all. So I'm interested in that section actually.
Okay. Anybody else? Last person. Just for me to understand what is the expectation. Anybody else? Yeah.
Hi,
Okay. After that. Yeah, please.
myself Hemant. I have a startup. It's a construction technology startup called Build Suit. So right now we are just starting. We launched a beta, and we have to expand to Middle East, of course UAE. So I would like to know how to grow our business
What
in
is the
UAE.
problem that you're solving? What is the service?
It's a platform. Our customers will be the contractors and the builders
Okay.
for them to manage the business.
All right.
Yeah.
Good.
So
Yes, ma'am.
So question is how to manage or how to create business in UI without being in UI.
Good. All right.
Hello, my name is Fincy. I run a health tech startup. I'm losing the name startup because we are 7 years into the business in US. So I actually have a lot of regulations that I have to follow in the US, like HIPAA compliance and all of that.
Yes.
So I actually want to know support from the government in terms of health tech. I see that there's a lot of people who are into the health tech business, and probably that's one sector that never got affected because of COVID or had a boon because of COVID. So everybody wants to expand, but regulations from the government, things that health tech people would have to take care of, grants that the government is providing, and on those
Sure,
lines.
sure. Got it. So if no, okay, we have 1 hour's time, so it's fine.
Hi Siby, I'm Suraj. I run a social business which actually is an aggregator of products made by people with disability. And I want to see like, is it like how social business can it actually gonna be fruitful in UAE and abroad? That's my question.
So social, when you say what
Social
exactly?
venture. So it's a social enterprise which focus on selling products made by marginalized community, like slum dwellers.
Okay.
It's products made by people with disability
All
and
right.
marginalized community.
Good, good. So, for the benefit of all of us, somebody wants to know how to register a company. Somebody wants to know what are the government support which could be expected there. Somebody wants to know that how, healthcare startup can be, scaled up there. And, somebody like a business consultant is also here. Now, when it comes to technical aspects of each and every business, when it comes to company formation, when it comes to government aids, these are a little bit of specific. And I hope all of you will agree this is something which we cannot discuss in a open forum, which would need little bit of more dissection of understanding what exactly your business is into. So how am I going to take this conversation ahead in the next 1 hour is little bit of generic, just to make more clarity on what I have been doing and how I have been able to support startups and which are the startups who have actually benefited out of the exercise that we have done for some time. Okay? So how many of you are aware, how many attended the morning inaugural session today when CM was here? So you know about the Startup Infinity project, right? So Startup Infinity, which today they signed MOU for Belgium and Australia. How many of you are aware that June we already have launched Startup Infinity in Dubai? How many of you are aware? No, none of you. Two people are aware. So just to give you a benefit that okay, in the end you feel that my particular query was not addressed, so there is a Startup Infinity Center of Kerala Startup Mission in Dubai. It is operational, it's functional, it is there. So any one of you who would like to actually individually raise your queries and want answers to it, you can actually avail it. Okay? So, I would request, the volunteers also to share later. But the domain is, the web link is startupinfinity dot startupmission.in. Okay? For all of you who have notepad and pen and those who have phones, you can note is startupinfinity.startupmission.in. All you need to do is just go onto that link, register yourself. That query of yours with your contact details will reach Dubai also, Dubai office, and it also reaches the person in charge in the Startup Infinity office here in Trivandrum. And we will individually connect with you, and also we can how we do is basically we arrange a Zoom call or a virtual call with you to understand further how we can cater to your query. Okay? So now the field is open for me to say what I wanted to talk, right? So hence all of your queries are addressed, and if there is an assurance. And lucky for me, when Kerala decided to open up this session, Startup Infinity Center in Dubai, It was almost a year-long exercise, but they partnered with Startup Middle East, which I take care of in Dubai, and we are the official partners for Startup Infinity in Dubai, and which is basically two things that we help the startups from Kerala. One is there is a physical space of 10 plus startups can use that facility at once. Okay, so for all of you who all you need to know do is basically inform us that you are coming to Dubai this date to this date, and then you would like to avail that facility. So in a month, up to 5 days, you can come and use it. You only need to book, block the space for yourself. And second thing, what we do is basically help you with, in making relevant introductions with people whom you want to associate with. For example, if you want to register a company, we'll give you a reference of 3 to 4 people who are already impaneled with us, vetted by us, and they will guide you with it. And we will handhold you throughout the process. Okay? So most important part which a session like this is organized is basically um, you know for anybody who from where we started, why Dubai, right? The simple answer would be that for the time that you take is the physical proximity, right? The distance of Dubai from Kerala, the time it would take for me to reach Bhopal where my home is, I'll have to take 2 flights. Either I have to go to Delhi or I have to go to Bombay and then take a flight to Bhopal. Same time or lesser time it would take for me to reach Dubai back, right? So one is physical proximity is there. That's one good reason. Second, it's a foreign land where you will find over 198 nationalities staying at a one small place like Dubai. So it's like a very global exposure. Anybody who wants to reach out to with their products and services for the entire region of Middle East, or from Middle East you want to reach out to African or Southern American or European nation, that is the second. Third reason. Fourth reason could be, the biggest benefit that we as Malayalis have is the diaspora there, right? As you said, almost every one of us, we have somebody there. So there is such a big resource that we should all utilize it, right? How did I go reach Dubai? My dad was there for some time. My sister is still there for 17, 18 years. So we should benefit out of it. Do you know that the largest Indian diaspora anywhere in the world is UAE? It's 3.6 million Indian nationals who live there. And out of that, 1.3 million are Malayalis, are Keralites. Do you know we are more than the Emiratis there. Emiratis are hardly a million, and we are 1.3 million. And the best part is, not just we as Malayalis, but Emiratis also regard us as people who have actually built that nation. So, everything that people, our elders, our one generation above has done, the contribution which they have done to that country, it's actually for our benefit. So, apart from this, when I talk on forums like this, you know, the idea is basically who should go, number one, right? When you should go. And the third important aspect, which I feel as somebody who, somewhere is part of your journey as a facilitator, is whether you should go or not. You know, it's lot of glitz, it's lot of glamour, it's lot of opportunity that you see across the board. But the most important part is whether you should go there or not, right? So little bit of background if I say about my journey, and then if I can relate, if I can make sense of what I'm trying to say is, I have lived all my life in Bhopal. I studied in Indore. I did, my double PG in media. 12 years I've worked in media. Started from television, then I worked in radio, then I worked in publication. And 2014, when I thought of going to Dubai, my sister was there for over 10 years. She was there. And almost it was like a glass ceiling that, I felt that this is, I tried 2, 3 businesses. I tried, Times of India. There was nothing more beyond for me. Dainik Bhaskar and Times of India were the two biggest brands there. And there was nothing beyond to go. So it was then when, my dad said it's the right time that, you should think of, my sister said that you should come to Dubai to explore and see option. So number one thing is that, if there are startups, if there are companies who you are based out of, India or Kerala, you have your investment raised from here, you have your customer base here, you have your team here, then there should be a solid reason why you even want to, go beyond. So number one, what I tell startups when they come and approach me is that think of it whether you want to come there or not. No, for multiple reasons, I had been thinking that, before going there, whether I want to go there or not, because it's a very good showroom, right? More than a city. Everything is like, attractive. Whether it is the manicured, the roadside, paves to walk, or it's the entire city. It looks like not a city, it's like a showroom, right? It's a very good boutique that they have built. A lot of opportunities. So one important factor is whether to go there or not, right? There has to be a proper due diligence about whether you should think of expanding to that region. There has to be a very good reason, number one thing. Second thing, when I thought of, going to UAE, my second thing aspect was to shifting my family, right? When you are also thinking of, working there or moving to Dubai, how much time you are going to invest. One person said a very good thing that, how he can expand to Middle East or Dubai being here only. That's a very smart thing, right? You are not thinking of moving there. So if you are thinking of moving there, another aspect to think of is the cost of living, right? For me, I'll tell you, because I'm a media graduate, I'm more into media, branding, marketing. I got a good job there, a decent scale. In fact, for a matter of fact, that time when I went there, the Dubai was, only 12 times. Now it is 22 times, right? If you see the exchange rate. So for me, I got a very good job. But my wife, who for a matter of fact is much more educated and experienced than me, she's an embedded systems engineer. She was into research. She was working with a central government job. For the last 10 years, she tried. She didn't get a good, suitable job there in Dubai. She stayed there for a year or two, then again came back. She got a very good offer from Tata Elxsi here. Then she worked for some time here. Then again because I continued being there, she again came back, stayed there for 1.5 year. Then, again she came back. She got a very good job offer here for the IBS software. So she is here right now at Technopark. So the second important point which I want to make is which sector you are into. Because Dubai is very good, but for which all sectors? For anybody, can you just name sectors which you think are really good according to you for Middle East and Dubai or UAE? Health is one, then retail is good, financial services, construction, real estate, what else? Education, but not top 5. You are missing oil and gas, which for Middle East, number 1 is oil and gas and number 2 is trading, right? So prima facie, these are the, yes. See, again, when you talk IT, this is the place, right? This is the place when it comes to development. This is the place when it comes to servicing. This is the place when it comes to sourcing IT. Very frankly, that's what I told you. My wife is here. She's here in Technopark, right? So the important point which I want to make, second point, is which sector you are into. And exactly the sectors which you said, healthcare, construction, real estate, trading, financial services, these are the good sectors to be there, right? Media also, to a large extent, but again, not number 5, top 5 sectors. So that was another important reason. And third important factor which for all of us, we have enough in access, but still I would want all of you to do enough due diligence, is the network. When I went there to look for a job, I have changed 3 jobs before starting having my own business. Is the first thing which my sister did for me is, she got, my resume, 20 printouts of it. She said, the moment you exhaust this 20 printouts, you should get your own. She showed me the place where you can get the printouts. So I literally went out, met a lot of people. Morning I used to go visit one free zone, other free zone, and remaining time I used to just, kind of come back home online. I used to apply for jobs. And you know what? In the first 40 days when, my visa, when I was supposed to come back my return flight, I didn't get a job in the 40 days. The first job that I got was the person whom I just called and said, "Ki uncle, yan tirchi pova," you know, and the visa in the career, I'm like going back. He said, "You came here for a job, right?" I said, "Yeah, I came here for a job. I didn't get one." He said, "I'm really missed you meeting you earlier. Please come down and meet me today." I met him today. He gave me a job. And he said that, "How much is your expectation?" I said, "Oh, 8,000, 10,000 endayo in terms of dirham, if you want to live with family." He said, "Okay, I'll give you 8 now and 10 later, and you can join come from tomorrow." The only reason was he actually wanted somebody to handle his social media, his website to be revamped, his newsletter to be done. But that was something which I did in 4 months of my job. I got everything done for him. And then I was wondering, when he will tell me, "You're useless for me now, you can go back." But lucky for me, in the 3 jobs which I did was all through reference, right? All through reference. None of the job, I got through LinkedIn or anything. Now, important point which I'm trying to make for all of you who are thinking of scale up to Dubai is basically check your references. I told you that there is a startup infinity center, so you don't have to wander around looking for a place to come, sit, operate out of, and meet people. There is space where you can conduct your meetings also. So there's a conference room, you can use that conference room. So use that facility, and most importantly, check with your references. You have enough people there, right? Maybe everybody is not an expert in company formation, but those are the points which I would like all of you to check back, right? Now, in terms of nitty gritties, how much time do we have now? This is Dubai time. 40 more minutes we have. Okay. Can you give me my phone? My watch is still showing the Dubai time. So, when it comes to opening up a company there, little bit of nitty gritties when I said the most important factor is these 5 sectors. If you are not out of these 5 sectors which we mentioned and discussed, then little bit of homework is required, right? In terms of starting a company, right? Starting a company, there is a free zone company. How many of you heard of this terms called free zone, mainland, offshore, right? So these are the 3 forms of companies that you can do. Now again, it depends a lot from company to company, startup to startup, depending upon how your legal structure is here in India and how you would like to have it there. So you can have a free zone company. There are over 40 free zones in UAE, different free zones for, and every free zone has different things to offer. For example, there is a Dubai Media City, there is a Dubai Internet City, there is Dubai Silicon Oasis, there is ADGM, there is DIFC, which is Dubai Financial Center, which is for fintech startups, right? So there are multiple free zones, over 40 free zones, where you can start a company from anywhere between 8 to 10,000 dirhams, which is likely almost 2 lakh rupees, to, if you go for a mainland license, it can go beyond. It can go around, say, 20, 22,000 dirhams also. And then, of course, there is an offshore company. But offshore company is something which, according to me, for all of the startups who want to either service or do something there, is basically mainline or free zone firms, right? Now, what you need to understand, or whenever you are checking with Startup Infinity Center or any of your reference, is to identify which industry your company is and what activity does it fall under. That is what will determine everything in terms of the cost and compliances, right? For example, if there are 2 people who are from the health tech startup, right? if I am a health tech startup and if I am dealing anything with, the medical data, right, from patients, vital information about it, about their health or profile, there is something called Najib. Otherwise, there is something called Dubai Health Authority, DHA, now which is rechristened as Dubai Health. So, irrespective of which company I start, whether I start a free zone company or I start a mainline company, the second step is to understand which compliance I have to be under. For example, if you are into any sort of classes, training, or education, there is KHDA, right? So there are different authorities when it comes to financial services. Of course, there is much more stringent regulations and compliances that you have to take care of, right? Dubai. How many of you know Dubai is no more typically tax free as we assumed earlier? Right? There is VAT and there is corporate tax which is coming forth from April this year. So these are things wherein which makes our life little bit more, it has to be more disciplined financially also and in terms of compliances also. So these are the major, in terms of, when it comes to activities you have to understand. Now, second aspect apart from company formation and compliances is about hiring people there. How is the process that you hire people here now? Anybody? How do you hire people here now?
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, you just hire people, get their resume, and then do you know how is the process of hiring an employee there in UAE? Why does references work there more than getting people from LinkedIn? Is most important part is for me to hire one employee, immediately it's a cost of a lakh of rupees almost, right? Is to get them a visa, right? I get somebody on a visa, I pay for their insurance which is mandatory, I pay for their initial health checkup, Emirates ID, all those aspects which has some basic cost which somebody has to incur as an employer. And then there is a WPS wage system which every decided stipulated month, if I am not making that much transfer, I will be fined as an employer, right? So that is the reason when somebody hires in UAE, there is certain amount of compliance and cost that happens from day one. What is the second option? The second option is hiring somebody on a payroll company. There are for company who will hire people on payroll. So many of you who are looking at expanding to UAE, one good option apart after doing the initial part of due diligence is to have a agency or a person who can do business development for you, who can test water for you, right? Who can understand, see that if there can be a funnel of customers who you can later service. If there is enough traction to your business or your platform or your product that you are trying to sell there or scale there, then you can think of making, commitments in terms of, spending money. The second important thing which you can do is hire somebody for business development and tell very frankly, since last year's Huddle, this year I know over 8 companies who have done that, who have done enough just to have hire one business development person each. I know 2 of them because they operate out of my business center, who come there, sit there and just do marketing for them. Why? Because the platform, everything is based out of here. There is no need for physical office there. So there are people who are hired on the payroll of another third party company who's an agency who provide that, and then they do business development for you. So this is one important option where not spending much money you can think of hiring people there. And the third important fact, which many of the startups from here would be interested in is opening a bank account, right? Now, opening a bank account also is something which is little bit of work. It's not that easy. Though there are digital banks now, which is called VO Bank is there, Mashreq Neo Bank is there. So if any one of you are thinking of expanding there, because I'm already have met 3-4 startups since morning here in the premises where who just needed a license and a bank account there to expand their business there, get the money which they can be remitted into that particular account, right? So the third important aspect is when it comes to opening a bank account, what else could be there further? This is all about technical aspects that we were talking, right? The last point which I want to make, and then we'll take more questions, which none of you have still not asked me yet. And even in the initial 7-8 people whom we got an opportunity to say in terms of expectation, none of you said that. And I'm really happy that none of you, out of the 6-7 people, none of you said.
It's all about investment, right?
None of you in terms of, investment in starting a company there, none of you asked me about funding, right? Many of the people think of UAE as if it's an easier place to get fund. And I'm really happy that none of you asked that, any one of you are looking to come to Dubai or UAE to raise funds. Is there anybody in the room who still thinks that, or had this in back of mind? Anybody? See, it's really good, because in last 1.5 year, 18 months since I started Startup Middle East, we have dealt with 1,078 startups. We have engaged in some or the other way. Either, our media platforms or the monthly sessions that we do or similar events that we do there. In last 18 months, we have done 24 sessions there. So all of them, many of them come there to raise funds. My only message to people, who come to raise funds there is basically, if you can get business out of UAE, then it is very easy to get strategic investors also. Then we come back really to the, the starting point where I started with, whether to think, whether to, come to Dubai or not. If you think that your platform, your business, your startup has enough traction there, so that you can think of coming there, scaling up your business, then it is easier strategically to get investors also. But now there is enough HNIs in terms of NRI Malayalis also who are now considering investing in startups. Why do I say so? Because I've raised 2 of the funds recently in last 2 months, where to a tune of say 1 CR to 4 CR, people have invested back home here. So, but again, it has to be something, it's not that easy to raise money anywhere, not just UAE or, in India. But if your company or your startup has enough traction back home, then I think it would be easier to raise funds also. Is there anything else that you would, yeah?
Had a query specific to the business side. Like when we compare, let's say, the small, medium enterprises out in India, so there are 2 main challenges which generally any B2B businesses face. One is the paying capacity,
Yeah.
and second is the payment recovery.
Yeah.
Very big challenge.
Yes.
So the amount that we are able to charge, let's say specific for a software business, right? And then once we charge them, then the payment cycles, the delays that they do, generally they should pay in 30 days, but it happens like so long, right? So when we compare Indian market with the Middle East market, how do you see the X multiple is in terms of the paying capacity? And is Dubai and Middle East a very good market where they do pay on time? Like, and if they don't pay, like as you mentioned, for employment, there are certain stringent rules. But let's say if they commit and then they don't pay, then what happens?
Sure. So, what we will do is, I will answer to both these questions, and we will take more questions in the remaining 20 minutes that have. Before that, I would like you to see a video of the Startup Infinity Center there in June. And then if anybody who has questions can remain in the room, or else you're free to leave as well. So can we have that video? So this is the center. I have already given you the web link, and this is the place that's already we have there in Dubai. All right. So this is the space that you already have. Now coming to your question. No, at least now all of you know that Kerala Startup Mission is not confined to Kerala. It's there in Dubai also, right? That's the first thing which I thought none of you knew. So it was very important for you to know that this space is there. Now two questions which you asked specifically in terms of one is payment if there is any delay, and the second thing was, see, I just met a startup here. How many of you know about Interval? They're into education, right? Right, Interval. So Interval, these guys were just telling me right now also, and there are many other startups also. One very good reason, if your startup or your company falls into those particular 5 or 6 sectors that I mentioned, the the unit realization in terms of the money that you would realize by selling a unit here in UAE, in India, in comparison to UAE would be much better. If not 22 times, but it will be much better. So they themselves were just telling me that right now they have a staff of 300 people. They have moved to a bigger space of their own, and 30% almost in terms of 30 to 50% of their revenue is comes from UAE market. So a good amount of revenues that they generate, and the profit margin also is better in UAE. So in terms of paying capacity, of course, and the realization of per unit sale would be much better there. It would depend upon a lot again in terms of compliances, and if it's a SaaS platform where it's more subscription based, then obviously it's a given answer that you will be much better in terms of realization of money. In terms of payments, again, the rules and the regulations is very stringent there. I'm not saying that there would not be any sort of faults or defaults doesn't happen. It's a normal business, but to my understanding, in terms of security and in terms of compliances, the reason why it is made so stringent is to secure interest of the businessman. So in that case, it is pretty much both consumer side also is very well protected in terms of the businessman also. So that I can assure you that there is pretty stringent compliances just to make sure that the payments are secured, right? What else? Mike. Thank you.
Okay. So, so you mentioned reference and networking is very important in the Middle East. As someone from Kerala, I see two options of networking: friends and relatives in the Middle East and LinkedIn. Now, I, while I have friends, they are not in the domain that I'm trying to get there. So for me, the only option is LinkedIn. Now, if I see a job in LinkedIn, I can see connections working in that company. Now, sending a connection may be superficial. It may not be as realistic as telling someone who is close to me, a friend of mine or relative who is working in that company. So, will that help? Will creating a connect in LinkedIn with someone who is working in the company help in building the network, or is there a better way?
See, I'll give you a very good option and something which is very much and the only thing that works very well. Number one, if you ask me, is the events that happen there. Okay? So, for me, if you say Dubai itself as a city, it thrives on events. Have you heard of it? I think, Dubai thrives on events, We have one event, then we will announce another big event, then we will announce another big event. And none of you said tourism as a sector, right? Tourism is again a major prominent, when it comes to hospitality, travel, tourism as a sector, again is a very promising sector. So in terms of events, when I went there in 2015, 2014, 2015, the biggest event that everybody was looking up to and 4 years right from Metro Link to everything was built up was for Expo 2020 Dubai. And now, which is the next big event happening in UAE? Anybody? Again, a sector which is very, a favorite of everyone is COP28. COP28, which is happening, later this month itself. So it's, everything to do with sustainability. So figure out which are the events, and I'm telling you, being from a event management, which is one of my companies, and somebody who has been, so before when my second job was with a business council. There is Dubai Chamber, and Dubai Chamber has 44 country specific business councils. And as a business council, we used to organize 50 plus events a year. Think of it. It's like almost we as one organization, every week we had one event. Which varied from sector specific events, from networking events to hosting business and, government dignitaries from both the nations. So there are ample events that happen. Go to dubaicalendar.com, go to dwtc.com, and in LinkedIn also go for events. So for each and every sector, there would be events that are. How many of you were there for GITEX? Anybody? You were there for GITEX, right? It is the largest IT related or tech related event that happens. This was the 42nd edition of GITEX. So there are major, if you see, there are 4 major events which DWTC host. One is Arab Health, right? Gulf Food, then ATM, which is Arabian Travel Mart, and GITEX. So anybody who are from the food, this particular sector, I just took your name just now. He's the founder of Interval. So you can ask, talk to him also, how he makes 50% of revenue from UAE now, and how are the profit margins. He's a live person here. So, anybody who is from travel, hospitality, this particular industry, ATM, look for Arabian Travel Mart. Come, you will have the entire Middle East market converging there. Okay? If anybody who is from the health sector, come for Arab Health, right? And if you are technology company or tech platform at large, GITEX. Otherwise also there will be more than enough. Right now when we talk about October to say March, this time Ramadan is happening little early. So say till Feb end, there will be every day 4 to 5 major events being hosted. Events are the best place for you to network. And you will get sector specific and particular your industry, particular your interest, you will get people from there. There is a world, printers and paper exhibition happening. That minute also, for everybody who is into paper industry, stationery, paper, printing. So there are multiple events that happen. So that is the best way to network. And the second thing is get in touch with us. We can give you the year calendar. I'll give you the calendar so you can see which matches your, and then you also go on Startup Infinity and book a space for you when you are coming there for 2-3 days. Startup Infinity, if you are a startup registered out of Kerala, there is no cost for you to use that space for, say up to 5 days a month. You can come and use it. There is no cost to it. Thanks to the government. You should appreciate, something. Right now I'm also hosting Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, but it all happened after Kerala did it. After Kerala. So Kerala Startup Mission, we should all congratulate them. They were the first one to think of it, to have an overseas office. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Mithun. I run a healthcare firm based out of Bangalore, but it's registered in Kerala.
Okay.
So we are planning to expand to Dubai.
He clarified it just to make sure that, okay, I can also use Startup Infinity. Yes.
So we are planning to expand to Dubai. So when you talk to the consultant, he talked about a CDA license, I think Child Development Authority license. And
Community development.
Community development license. And that required a certain number of space that we should be holding and all those things. So, I mean, that kind of put me in, like whole saying, that's a little more higher investment to go to the market. So I was also exploring what's the opportunity to partner with any other organization over there and kind of do it. So how do you do partnerships in Dubai as well?
See, that's why I love such interactions. Another very good point, before I address to his query, is to partner with people. Another very good important way, a very good vehicle how you can scale to Middle East market is to look for right partners. If your business model allows for you to have a partner, that is again a very good way of expanding business to the Middle East. So look for strategic partnerships, and we can help you to figure that out. But that can be another good way. Now, when it comes to CDA, in terms of, I need to little bit more understand what business you are into, what is the activity to address to your query particularly. But two things which broadly I can say is there is a concept called Ijari. Now, Ijari is basically tenancy contract. Now, when it comes to opening up a mainland license or opening up a bank account in the mainstream banks, you need Ijari, which is called a tenancy contract. Now, for certain category of activities and business, Ijaris are must. And mainland license, Ijari is a must. So there would be a specification that there should be certain limit or certain area of office that is required. This all comes under compliance. So CDA again is Community Development Authority. So anything which you are doing in UAE which comes under involving community at large, right? You are doing any kind of a social work. You are doing any sort of crowdsourcing kind of a work. You need CDA approval for that. And for that particular reason, there would be a requirement of, as you said, Ijari and a certain space that they would have been asking. So we can delve into it a bit more in terms of, what exactly is the activity. And in terms of partnership also, we can see there could be a lot of opportunities. On an average, there are thousands of companies that start. For a matter of fact, if you see 80% of Fortune 500 companies have their branches or offices in UAE. So the amount of companies that open up in UAE or have branches in UAE, there is plethora of them, right? So all you need to understand and look for, do your due diligence part is to identify the right partner who, makes strategic, interest for you, safeguarding your interest also, and it's a win-win for both of you, right? So this is another important aspect, so there are many licenses when it comes to free zones particularly. So you can clearly make this clear in your mind that when it comes to free zones, Most of the free zones will give you a desk space, a flexi desk arrangement, so you don't have to have a necessarily an office outside. So most of the free zones will give you a desk space also, and a minimum of 1 to 3 visas for employees. So all the free zone license would come with a license to operate, 1 to 3 visas and a desk space. When it comes to mainland, there would be a requirement of an office outside. Okay, for a broad understanding. Any other question?
Yeah, as you mentioned that there can be a business development partner there in Dubai. So Startup Infinity is helping on that regard? Or you okay?
See, what we can do in terms of Startup Infinity is basically, again, for any one of you who is planning to visit Dubai, consider third Saturday. That's a fixed calendar. So every third Saturday there is a Kerala forum that happens in that facility, right? What we do is basically every time we try to get one HNI from the Malayali community to be there, and we make sure that there is a talk, there is an engagement, but the idea is networking, right? So what I'm broadly trying to say is, when you approach us from our existing database, right? From our existing database, or when you come there, we can guide you to attend few of the sessions to make few business introductions, right? For example, if you tell me that, Sibi, this is what my particular interest is when I'm coming to Dubai, or this is what my business is, what we can do for you is either you, for a matter of fact, you don't have to come there also. Even before taking a visa or planning a visit, we can do virtual sessions also. Virtually, you can have meetings with few people whom we can connect you. Okay? You have another something on more to ask?
Yeah.
Can he complete his question? Then we can come back to you. So we can help you with connect with 2 to 3 people in whichever domain you are.
Just we have to be from Kerala. It's like a
No.
condition.
No.
Okay.
We are friends now, so you can approach us.
Unfortunately, I'm not Malayali.
No. So Startup Infinity, there is no restriction or no condition that you have to be, from Kerala. You can, of course, when there are engagements, there would be some nominal fee. For example, how much is 200 dirhams? 4,000 rupees, right? 4,500. That is the maximum the charge would be for anything. So it's annual, that too. Anything else? That's the cost. So 200 dirhams is annual membership of Startup Infinity. 200 dirhams for a year. And you can avail the facility.
Yeah, hi Siby. Myself Arjun.
Yes.
All right, my query is related to KHDA registration. KHDA registration. So basically we run an after-school education concept having a hybrid model. So for the offline centers, right now we have 3 franchisee partners registered from UAE. And for some reasons, they were not able to take up the training, the offline centers, and they are not able to take up their, marketing to schools as well. So, being a startup, is there any benefit of is there any benefit in we'll get it for the KHDR registration?
So again, it is a very specific question to your particular business it would pertain to. But let me tell you one important thing, in terms of the way in a democratic setup like ours, it takes time for a law to come into force and to, first of all, become a law and come into force. It's easier, it's simple to, implement the rulers there just have to sign a decree and it's a law from midnight, right? So there is some changes in KHDA. So another thing which happens in UAE, which is, we have heard a little bit, have experienced also, is there are some or the other regulations which keep on changing. So recently, not even a month before, KHDA has stopped giving licenses to anybody who is using a portal as a service for education services.
We are having offline centers.
Yeah. So that's again, a reason For online, they have done that, but again, in terms of you being here and facilitating an offline service, there would be some changes, which again is something which I'll have to go back and check particular to you. But KHDA now has come up with a who was there was somebody else who was on in education, right? No, apart from you were there. You came now. I know you. So, so KHD has now come up with, there is something which new has come up also for e-commerce websites also. There is a website registration which has come into force now, recently. So those are few things which we need to find out, the nitty-gritties of it. But yeah, KHDA otherwise
Any advantage for the startups?
Any?
Like any advantages for the startups?
See, in terms of advantage, if you are so when we talk about why I said in the beginning that which sector you are operating and what is your activity in anywhere in those texts, if a word classroom comes, training comes, you fall under KHD.
Yes.
Right?
We do.
So that's very simple. If you are providing any service, whether offline or online, we are doing any sort of mainstream academic or vocational training. So training, classroom, teaching, it all comes under the compliance of KHDA. As simple as that.
And do you facilitate any services for that? For availing the
For
availing the services, do you provide any services for KHDA registration?
See, what we can do is, as a service that we can do is we can align you with 2 to 3. So the reason why we always give you minimum 2 to 3 consultant reference is first they are impaneled with us, and second we know that what will be the charges of their services. So what we can do is give you 2 to 3 references who will facilitate you with KHDA licensing. That we can do differently.
Sure, yeah. Thank you, Siby.
Yes. There's somebody else sitting here. Yeah, please.
Is there any chance for asset management companies to scale up to UAE? Asset management companies.
Asset management.
Yeah, AMC.
When it comes to asset management, what digital assets?
Yeah, equity, stock.
Real
equity,
estate
forex,
assets.
Yeah.
Real estate assets, digital assets.
Forex.
See, again, it is a domain which is very highly regulated. When it comes to starting anything which is either, so there are two authorities which I would advise you to go and search online. One is called Dubai International Financial Center, right, which is the regulatory authority in Dubai, and the second is ADGM, Abu Dhabi Global Markets. So go to adgm.com and similarly go to DIFC, and you can see all the regulatory requirements. Once you have gone through it, have a basic understanding of it, then you can, if there is any specific queries, let us know, we can address to that. But yes, it is a highly regulated activity. And it's undoubtedly one of the good promising sector. Anything to do with financial services is a promising field there in UAE. I think we can take one more question. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Okay, after that we'll
see, the startups here are having the idea, and the market here is very different from there. So do you facilitate and understand the validation of the idea that we develop here over there, understanding the market there?
See, again, you know, to help any company, any startup, either it's with market access or go-to-market strategy, basically, again is something which we can facilitate in terms of. Again, it's one-on-one. We need to sit down and understand which are the sectors. But prima facie, the framework right? Which are the sectors, which are the companies, and again, what we can do for you is give you certain platforms. We can refer you to certain platform. We can refer you to few consultants who can give you a very good feedback on it, right? And again, there are, if you go into do a little bit of, we can assist you with that. There are ample good reports that come out. You know, whether it is you go for the big four companies, or you, for a matter of fact, go to DET website, you go to u.ae, there is enough and more details that you would find. Basically reports that will give you a very good interesting idea of which are the sectors growing, right? For example, right now you see when it comes to anything to construction and real estate, it's booming there right now. So if you are into construction, if you are into real estate, if you are into, you know, any sort of activities around, you know, logistics, transportation, you know, it's all doing really well. So there is two three ways. One is to refer to any of such reports. Second, we can connect you with any of such consultants who work in that domain. And thirdly, we can, you know, facilitate few meetings for you, right, for which you can ascertain. So, you know, one example, one thing which we are doing from January 25th onwards is we are launching 5 different industry cohorts, right? And many of those sessions will be online. So it will be, you know, focusing on retail, logistics, FMCG distribution and e-commerce. Then it comes to energy and sustainability, and I'm missing out on one. So put real estate and construction, of course. So these 5 industry-specific sessions would be happening. Again, all these details you would be available online, or you can get in touch with KSUM team here, and you can attend those sessions. The idea of each sector, we will be having 3 sessions each, is to give you a little bit of idea of how and what works there on basis of experience, right? Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
One
last
another,
question.
just extending to that.
Sorry?
The another fuel that we say is data. So what is your idea? How is Abu Dhabi in terms of data generation? Market?
Data generation.
Yeah.
Now data, again, which particular, you know, data
Any
is...
data, healthcare data, or any of those sectors of data. How
See,
do they play out?
no, you're talking about a very generic thing, right? But it has to be industry specific. We have to get into more details. But yeah, anything with data would not be that easier, right? There are very strict privacy rules there as well. So when it comes to dealing with data, again, we have to understand a bit more. Yeah, sorry.
So I have a question regarding the assistive tech market, assistive tech, especially about autism. I am into autism segment. So we are currently prototyping some products. So can you give some insights about its market in UAE?
Again, when we talk about healthcare as an industry, medical devices, assistive care, as you mentioned, whether it is any sort of caregiving, if it is medical devices, or whether it is tech, there are ample and enough takers for it, right? And one good thing about UAE as a market, as this gentleman asked me in terms of realization, right? In terms of how per unit realization of a cost, it's second very good thing about, you know, particularly UAE market or Middle East market would be in general. I'm not talking about specific countries, but in general is that they were very well adaptive to technology. Any sort of new tech, it would be easier for them, or, you know, to convince those guys to adapt to it. You know, in terms of, how many of you have heard that there is Emirates is introducing no passport onboarding also now? You know, you can just walk in without passport also. Your face is your passport now. They are introducing that. Emirates Airlines would be, you know, soon. They have already done test run. So any sort of new tech you can find there, you know. What I can do for you is, you know, there are 2 or 3 schools or centers, you know, more to say, when it comes to autistic kids, or when it comes to any, you know, cerebral palsy, any sort of such, you know, conditions for students, I can connect you to them. Okay, so that is something. When it comes to, again, depends upon a lot, you know, to understand a bit more about what exactly is your product or service, but there is scope, you know. Again, I know few institutions in terms of medical devices or assistive healthcare. There is good room and good scope for it. Yeah. No, you don't. You can scan my WhatsApp. You know, you don't have to go to LinkedIn for that. He said, I will connect you on LinkedIn. I just gave out the link. I just gave out the link of Startup Infinity. So we will end the session with that. You know, for those who have came late or have missed out, just note down startupinfinity.startupmission.in. Go to that web link and just post your query there, and we will reach out to you. If not immediately, but in a week or so, right? Because 2 days anyways I'm here. Except tomorrow I'm in Patandetta. That gentleman also left. Otherwise, we would have figured out where is his neighborhood. Yes. Startupinfinity.startupmission.in. I hope this session was informative. If not also, then I also have told you how to reach out to us. Right? So we will be there. Thank you so much for being such a nice audience. Have a nice time. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Siby Sudhakaran sir. It was really insightful experience which you have shared for the delegates assembled here. As part of Kerala Startup Mission, Mr. Basil will be giving you a token of love from KSM.